Yes, judges.
Hello, Dan. How you doing? You
What are you
all
up to, bro?
I'm actually watching the football, mate. This Surfshark VPN is a lifesaver, mate. You can watch the football with a dodgy Wi-Fi, even at the Emirates when you've got a big crowd there and everything like that, watching the football. Unbelievable.
Easy to set up? Well, it must be if you've done it, mate.
Oh, very, very funny. Even abroad you can watch all your favourite programmes. It's like being at home, mate.
And that's exactly what you guys can do too. Click the link in the description for Surfshark VPN. Yes, people, we are back. Surfshark VPN is back as well. Make sure you click the link in the description to make sure that you have got it. I know a lot of you have signed up, but some of you definitely have not. So please make sure that you do click either the link in the description or in the pinned comments. And make sure you sort yourself out with a VPN. Please do us a favor and like and subscribe to this video. Two things are absolutely free. A couple of people said, oh, if you subscribe to a channel, how much do you have to pay? Absolutely nothing. This is free content, people, and it does mean a lot, and it does take the channel to the next level. So please make sure you do click like and subscribe. And please do make sure that you're following myself on Football's 12th Man. The show tomorrow should be very, very fun. That's all I'm saying. Big up to Lee. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah. Good. We checked on everybody today. He's loyalist.
Oh, mate.
And the Tottenham boys, all right. You know what I mean? We should check on them, mental health and everything like that. They must be going up the fucking wall at the moment, them boys, And I don't know if Sean's still got his calculator out. I don't know if he's still got that. So, do you know there was a time when Spurs thought that they might get above Arsenal. They're now 23 points behind. 23 points behind. 20. Get your head around that. 23, not 3, not 20, 23. Unbelievable.
Embarrassing. I thought they were embarrassing. Another team that were embarrassing was our good friend Dan Lawless' football team, West Ham. Oh, were they poor? Dear me, they have given up. They are definitely saying goodbye to David Moyes in the worst fashion possible. Let me tell you that. And David Moyes has only gone and done one of the best things ever in his press conference and said, why did you not concede that many last year? What did he say, Lee? Because we had Declan Rice. That was what he said in his interview. Can you believe it? That is what he said. Just to wind West Ham fans up even more. He knows he's
always liked David Moyes. I've always liked him. And I'll tell you what, the downside to all this, right? There is a downside to all this, Dan. Right? Wait for it. Don't laugh.
Go on.
But Tottenham Hotspur and West Ham could help us win the league. Yeah, they got no chance.
Let me tell you, playing like that, they have got no chance in hell, mate. I have got more chance of going for a drink than Margot Robbie. Let me tell you that. They're helping us out, mate. It is a shocker. I tell you, they are absolutely terrible. And do you know what's mad, right? Lawless is getting a little bit of stick, bless him, today. You got D, who's a Palace fan, who's put 5 past him. You got Dodd, who's a Chelsea fan, who's put 5 past him. You got me, who's a Gooner, who's put 6 past him. And you got Emilio, who's a Fulham fan, who's put 5 past him as well. All these London clubs are doing absolute business to West Ham. Other than one, Lee. Other than one. Tottenham. It is hilarious. It really is funny. But this is what football is, mate. And this is what happens to Spurs and West Ham.
If Spurs or West Ham get a point off Man City, I reckon I'm gonna marry Laura Woods. I tell you, there you go.
Listen, it's all down to Fulham now, away. Listen, let's start with that actually, because we'll get to Arsenal, we'll get to the season, and there's a couple of links with us today as well with players for the summer because we're getting close to it. But I want to talk a little bit about the Man City's last few games, how they're playing, talk a little bit about yesterday. We are going to talk about Bruno Guimaraes as well, because it's looking like he might be leaving Newcastle. The release clause valid until the 1st of June. And there's rumours of Wojciech Szczesny returning to Arsenal if Ramsdale is to leave. So we're going to come into all of that. So get your questions in, get your super chats in, and get involved in the chat, people. Let's start with Manchester City yesterday and how they're playing. Unfortunately, the League Two player, Haaland, scored another 4 yesterday. He's come into form at the wrong time or the right time for City. KDB and Foden doing their business. Look defensively pretty good as always, Man City. And even this season, they've conceded a few more than they'd like, but never look like they're going to lose football matches. I don't think this is going to happen, Lee, but if it is going to be any game, it'd be a slip up at Fulham at Craven Cottage, maybe a draw. But the way they're playing, Fulham, a little bit on the beach, got their players back now. I don't think Manchester City are going to drop any more points. I said it 8 games ago. We're now down to 3 games. They've won those last 5, and I think they're going to win these next 3, Lee. I do.
Oh, 100%, especially when they get penalties like they did yesterday. You know, I actually turned it off after that. I'm watching it in the pub, and then I'll see that, and it was just like laughing and joking. And someone turned around and said, "They give a penalty." I went, "Nah, don't like." You know what I mean? You know, so not only have they got De Bruyne, not only have they got Pep, not only have they got Haaland, not only have they got 115, what they call them, like charges against them. They've also got the referees in their back pocket, like, you know, off to Saudi and all that. Like, the sooner this Manchester City get relegated and out of my life will be a very, very good thing, like, you know. But at the end of it, you know, they're not going to drop any points. We know that. And you know what, Dan? Even if they do drop a point, 2 points, right? They'll win it on goal average by 15. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're number 5 in the next few games. You know, so I honestly can't see anything going. Dan, just carry on talking there. I think someone just knocked at my door.
No, go for it. I'm not sure about the goal difference thing with Arsenal. I think people are getting worried about it, and I understand why people are getting worried. I do. But we are 6 goals ahead of them, which means that Manchester City would have to pile on 4s and 5s in the next 3 games, and we'd have to just scrape by like 1-0, 1-0. That's what needs to happen. No, I don't think that we will get to the Everton game at the end of the season and have to worry too much about goal difference. I do believe that Everton being safe now, we will be in a position to do what we usually do against Everton in the last game of the season, and that's put a few goals past them. So I don't think the goal difference situation will be too much to worry about. I will say, though, that Manchester City just look like they've hit form at the right time. And I think last season, Manchester City had not just the FA Cup to worry about, but they had the Champions League to worry about. They ain't got that to worry about this season, Man City. This season, they've literally got an FA Cup final against Man United, which, let's be real, they could prepare for overnight. They ain't got to do much homework against Man United, let me tell you that. So for me, these 3 games coming up, I can't see them doing anything but smashing Spurs, smashing West Ham last game of the season, and it is really only the Fulham game that I'm looking at and praying and crossing everything that something might happen miraculously. But the way they're playing, Lee, the way Haaland's hit form, KDB, Foden, Bernardo Silva, they have got players at the moment that are just hitting at the right time. And that is why, Lee, when people said, "Oh, you're negative, you're giving up after Villa, you think it's in the bin?" Yes, because Manchester City do not do what we do. Unfortunately, if we were going up against Liverpool, different story. Going up against United, dare I say it, different story. Spurs or Villa, different story. This Man City side don't drop points. And that was why that Villa game, when I don't know why Arteta changed it. I still would love to know to this day why Arteta changed those tactics. Why did Havertz go back in midfield? What did we do that for? Because that was such a bad decision and that could have cost us. So I don't think Man City are dropping, mate. And I think there's only Fulham, because look at West Ham and Spurs. They're getting absolutely hammered. You know, Spurs have conceded in the last 4 games now 15 goals. That is absolutely shambolic. And then he's interviewed this bloke and he's like, "Yeah, it's just the way we are, mate. It's just
the way we are, mate.
It's the way we are, mate. I won't be changing anything too drastic, mate. I'm quite happy what I'm seeing, mate." He actually said we played some phenomenal football today in the first half. That's what he said. I don't know if you watched the game, but I saw Tottenham get absolutely pammed by Liverpool when Liverpool didn't even really need to get out of first gear. So for me, they got no hope of beating Man City. And I know it'd be Spursy if they did take points off them. They are not taking any points off of Manchester City. Let me tell you that. West Ham are going to get pammed in the last game. It is all on that Fulham one. And we just need a miracle, Lee. We need an absolute miracle. And I don't know that we're going to get one, mate. I think we'll win both our games against Man United and Everton. I've got to say, I do think that'll happen. But I'm not so sure that Man City are going to drop points. You're right there, mate.
Ah, it's my mum. She's come in my house like that. I mean, I said, "Be quiet." Noisy, like, I don't know what she's doing. She's her phone, so I've.
Oh, okay. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm going to throw her out in a minute if she carries on, like, you know what I mean? So, I said, "Be quiet," and she's like, her phone's going more than her, like, you know. So. I can't stop it. All right, like, you know, we'll turn it off then, like, you know what I mean? We've got a very important show here talking about Manchester City, like, you know, and listen, I'm going to say it now. Manchester United, Man City, fantastic team. Got to say that, like, you know, destroying teams at this moment in time. And what you have to admire about them, Dan, is because we felt a little bit of pressure, and I think there was a little bit of pressure when we talk about that Mikel Arteta decision. I think he didn't really know what to do with the Bayern Munich game and that game in between. Like, the first time that sort of happened. So I think he's, he'll learn from that mistake. But what I've admired about Manchester City is that the pressure's really on at the moment, and you can feel it. Like, even looking at Liverpool today, they destroyed Spurs, but the handbrake was off, the pressure valve was off, and you could see them back to their free flowing best. But Arsenal, the pressure valve's on, and you can see that at times with the missed chances and all that. When the pressure valve's on for Manchester City, it makes them better. They play even better. Like they're destroying teams at the moment. 5-1. I must admit, I'm thinking, get the game ended now, because if it carries on, it'd be 10-1. So you have to give them their credit. It's incredible. And this is what you're up against, Dan. One mistake, or listen. At the end of the day, what we've got to do, we might hit 89 points, and that ain't going to be enough to win you a title. That's incredible.
Well, listen, Man City, they've said it in the chat here. Amelia says, look, I can't believe they ain't lost a game since December the 6th. That is unbelievable to compete with that, And I think what I will say about Man City, coming off the back what you said, LB, I'm good friends with, as people will know from the channel, from my channel, big Man City fan. He has absolutely hated going second. He has hated it. Arsenal winning, oh crap, we got to go now. Pressure's on again. They've won their game. They can sit and relax. He says, wait for Fulham, mate, and you'll know exactly what I mean. If we beat Fulham, that will be the worst Old Trafford game you're ever going to have. And he's right, isn't he? He is right.
It is, the pressure's magnificently on. And you know what? If they are to slip up against Fulham, it'd be even worse as well, Dan, because you know what's coming, whatever way you look at it. And then if it goes to the last game, I'm not even bothered about it, because we'll be watching Everton, and we won't even know what's going on in that game, and it'll be all over by half time anyway. So it does come down to next Saturday, as far as I'm concerned. It really does, because when they play Spurs, I'm not even. I asked a question today on the Forever Arsenal. Will we be watching it? It's like I'm stupid. I ain't even going to bother. I'm not going to bother watching that game. I'm wasting my time. You know what I mean? I probably will watch the Fulham game, because I'll be travelling up to Manchester. But that's only on that circumstances. Let's see what happens. At the end of the day, it is what it is. I've sort of, in my heart of hearts, I'm a little bit like you. I've conceded it, and I feel that we will probably end up second. Miracles do happen, but not with Manchester City. I'll give you 115 reasons why it won't happen.
Yeah, man, 115 indeed. Let's talk a little bit about the game yesterday, because it was a good game as far as I was concerned. I thought we dominated the game, and we said after in our fan cams that we felt it was fairly comfortable. I want to talk first of all about, before we go into the players and mention some of the players who deserve a mention for sure, I want to talk about a couple of incidents. I want to talk about the Kai Havertz penalty, and then the David Raya foul, which I still, for the life of me, can't see how he's been fouled. Not that it would have massively changed the game in terms of the scoreline, 'cause I think Arsenal would have won the game. But like the weekend against Tottenham, it would have definitely put some pressure and some nerves in the stadium at that point if that goal would have counted. So I thought it was a penalty on Kai Havertz. I think he's been very clever. He's left his foot in there, but it's not like it's not like he's won the ball cleanly, this guy, or anything like that. For me, it was a penalty. As for the David Raya one, he's got to come and catch that for me. I don't know why he's trying to punch that at all. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I don't think it's a foul, if I'm honest with you. I don't think Dominic Solanke even knows what he's doing. I don't think he's looking at the ball or the man, but he's just turning his back and he's running off, and he's brushed him. And the next minute it's a foul. So I thought VAR got that really wrong. I thought we were very, very lucky. And that was my opinion on it, Lee. What do you reckon?
Yeah, listen, the penalty's a penalty, because that sort of penalty has been going on for years. You know what I mean? As simple as that. He wins a penalty. You've heard of the phrase "wins a penalty." He pushes the ball past him and just waits for the goalkeeper, who's rushing out, trips him over, like, you know. They've been going on since my time of playing, like, and before, whether it's all I've been watching football, I've won penalties like that. You know exactly what you're doing, like, you know, you push it past the goalkeeper, you know he's coming out, he's going to take you out. Like, it's as simple as that. It's been going on for years, and it is a penalty. It's harsh. It's not very nice when it happens to you. But listen, Harry Kane's mate got about 5 penalties like that against us. Song 4 or 5 as well. It is a penalty, and that's how it is. Like, you know, so. And I can go back to Michael Owen at the World Cup in '98 against Argentina, done exactly the same thing. You know, Gary Lineker done it against Cameroon. If you want to go back even further, in the '86 World Cup, or was it the 1990 World Cup? Sorry, in Italy. It's been going on since football has been about. It's a penalty. It's not going to change. The other incident, I go back into that exact same game, and this is where inconsistency is there. I don't know if you remember it in the first half, their Bournemouth player had the ball running across our halfway line. Kai Havertz bashed into him, right? And the referee went, play on, and we had an attack. And do you remember Declan Rice went through, didn't play the best of passes to Saka?
That's right.
And do you remember it? Like, what's the difference between that and the Solanke and Raya one? What's the difference? Nothing in my book. It's in the same game. It's in the same game. So I'm with you on this, like, you know, I don't think it's a free kick. It should have been a goal. If it was allowed to go on and they didn't score, they probably should have got a penalty through Saliba holding on to the player also, like, you know. We got away with one on that. I don't care what anybody says. I'll try to be honest and with everything that happens in penalties and things like that. And for me, like, you know, I think we got away with one on that. Raya was not good enough. But the one thing that I will say on that, Dan, is that goalkeepers get so protected. It's unreal. Like, and I don't think it's right. You know, as I said, you see it in the halfway line, it smashes him. You know, James made a great point this morning on the Forever Arsenal. Jesus against Wolves, you know, uses his body to bump the player. It's part of the game, Dan.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, you can even look back to, we were talking about the Spurs Arsenal game with Partey, just gives a little bump to Romero at the back post. It happens, you know. So I think we got away with one there. Would it have made a difference? I don't think it would have, but at the end of it, it was another bit of play where we were convincingly in the game, no problems. It would have been an edgy 10, 15 minutes then. I don't care what anybody says. But we got away with it, so we have to hold our hands up on that, like, you know. Other than that, I thought it was an outstanding performance for us. One of the best performances. I thought we played really, really well. All credit to Bournemouth. I thought they were fantastic. I know they come to the Emirates, played a little bit. One, because they can't get anything. They're safe, but they played with freedom. They played with an energy, but maybe they wouldn't do if they was where they were and the circumstances of the season. But in saying that, I think, you know, for a club that's our training ground's bigger than their ground, is an incredible feat what they do. They play some really good football. They've got some fantastic players. Tommy Asu, by the way, had to have the game of his life at left back there because of who he was up against, and I thought he was fantastic. They had good movement up front, you know, but Arsenal had to be at their best. Saliba had to be at his best to maintain all that. I thought Declan Rice again was outstanding. I thought Partey, Odegaard and Kai Havertz magnificent. But all of those players had to play really, really well to beat Bournemouth then, you know, and that shows you. So I give them real credit for that.
Yeah.
So it was an entertaining game. And I will say one thing I have to say, and a big up to the fans. Half 12 kickoffs get criticised a little bit about the atmosphere, lacking a bit of energy. People have gone out the night before and whatever. That crowd in the Emirates yesterday was electric. It was fantastic in the atmosphere, and also, of course, on 14 minutes for Daniel, which was fantastic as well. Classy, brilliant by Arsenal, brilliant by the fans. So big up to everybody that went yesterday. The players, the fans, all turned up to what was a very, very good And also the sun turned out as well, Dan. I know, like for the Gingers, it weren't great, but for I know Mark was complaining, but for me, it was a lovely, lovely day.
No, it was a lovely day, man. Sun was shining, touch of class from Arsenal in 14 minutes. 40 crowd were electric as well. And I thought the decision making from Kai Havertz and from the David Raya one was going to be the talking point. The other one, of course, was Saka with a really bad tackle from Ryan Christie, which actually left him with some cuts and bruises on his shin. I couldn't believe after watching that again that is not a red card. I don't know how that is not a red card. But really, Lee, let's be real. I'm not minding about decisions. We were comfortable. I thought throughout the game we were the better side. You've mentioned the same players that I wanted to mention. I thought, I said this on my fan cam on my show. If you want to epitomise the centre-back partnership of Gabriel and Saliba, then watch what happens when Saliba messes it up. Gets it wrong. Solanke goes through. Saliba goes, no problem, mate. That's why I'm here. Sweeps up. I got you. I got you back. Now, that partnership to me is the reason we're here today. It's the reason we're talking about Arsenal being 2 games away from potentially winning the title. Because for me, I honestly can't believe how good they've been consistently all season. And I thought Saliba was well up there for player of the match. For me, it was Declan Rice I give it to. I thought the guy covered every blade of grass. I thought he was phenomenal on the ball. I thought his interceptions were great, driving forward. His ball carrying skills goes very much under the radar for me. And he gets compared to Rodri, who I think, let's be real, is the best in the world in that position. To even put him in that bracket and say that he's close to him is a massive compliment to what Declan Rice has done. And though I know tongue-in-cheek we said about David Moyes saying we missed Declan Rice, we would, mate. We would now. If we would not have had Rice this season and we had Partey out like we did, I don't know how we would have got on in midfield. It would have been really difficult. And I think you look at that now and think, what a signing. He has got the goal at the end of the game as well to top it off. That for me was player of the match, 100%. I was so impressed by him. And the guys who got the goals deserve a mention. Saka and Trossard now are 2 top scorers. Saka's got 33 goals and assists in one of the worst seasons, everyone's telling me, that he's had. That is incredible. The man is phenomenal. And Trossard as well, best finisher at the club. Fairly quiet, not going to lie to you, Lee. I didn't think he was outstanding.
No, he was.
He's there and thereabouts, isn't he? He keeps scoring. He keeps getting on the score sheet. And for me, mate, that will go down as one of Arteta's better signings. In January, £26 million. He contributed last season. He's contributed this season. And they're the players that stood out for me. But the last one I want to mention is the one you did, which was Tomiyasu, because he's come in at left back. He's come in at right back. He's come in at centre back. I just think he has good games, Lee. I don't ever look at Tomiyasu and think, Christ, what a shambolic performance. And I have done that with Kivior. And I have done that with Zinchenko in the past. I'm not doing that with Tomiyasu there. I think he's a very, very overlooked player. And an overlooked squad player, Lee. And you think back to the squads we had when we won stuff. We had players like him, that can come in and do a job. I remember when we went Invincible, we had Ray Parlour and we had Reyes and we had Edu. They all come in and we didn't really see a massive drop-off. And I don't know that we see a massive drop-off when Tomiyasu comes in. So who should be playing there? Because let's be real, he could be our starting left-back at the moment, Tomiyasu.
Oh, I think he is now. I've done him a disservice. I actually said before the game I would have played Zinchenko in this game because we might need an extra player in midfield and everything like that. But I'll be really honest, Dan, it would have been a mistake because I don't think Zinchenko would have been able to handle it defensively. I thought I'm going to be really honest, I thought Tomiyasu was outstanding in that game. But I don't know if he won that battle between them two. I think it was like they both went toe-to-toe and both come out even. That's how good a performances both were. I thought it was fantastic. And, you have to realise that Tomiyasu has been out for a while. That's my only criticism of Tomiyasu. Can he stay fit? But the last 3-4 games, I think that he will do. I think that he's a shoehorn, for the game on Sunday against Man United. I don't see that back four change. I don't see that back four changing now. For the next 2 games, that's it. Whether they change it in the summer and look to bring in other players, I don't know. But if he stays fit, he plays. It's as simple as that. I thought he was.
Well, you said the back four don't change. For me, the 11 don't change, Lee. I've got to say, that 11 now, that's to play in the next 2 games.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll go along with what you're saying about Trossard. I was saying, about 10 minutes before he scored, I was saying it's Martinelli time now. He hasn't really shined. He hasn't done anything. Had a couple of opportunities in the first half when he looked dangerous, but then when the chance to and if I'll be really honest, that was the match-winning moment. Then lovely bit of skill from Declan Rice to put him in, bang, finished it, and that's you've got to give credit where it's due. And somebody said, I think my mate Kevin said, he reminds him a little bit of Lundberg. It might have even been Russ that said it. Like, I can't remember. So if it was Russ or Kevin that said it, might have been even both. But they said, like, he reminds of Lundberg, propping up with important goals. And probably if you remember when Lundberg first came to the Arsenal, he was probably a squad player.
Yeah, he was.
At first. And then he become like, a very, very important part of a lot of success at Arsenal. So maybe Trossard's on that route. So I think that's quite a good analogy of him, if I'll be really honest. But listen,
I've kind of used a couple of players. Weird how people see it differently in terms of the past players, because I'm not comparing him to Cazorla, because Cazorla's levels ahead of him, but his quick feet looks very similar to him. And I actually likened him to Alexander Hleb, Trossard.
That's another good shout.
And then someone said Lundberg, and I kind of get that as well. He plays both sides. He's got good movement. He's a good finisher of the ball. Listen, what we're saying is, in a nutshell, he's a bloody good player.
Yeah,
that's what we're saying.
He is a very good player, and I don't think if I'll be really honest, he's not one of my favourite players. There's a few players before him that I would have on a shirt on my back, if I'll be really honest. But you need players like that in the squad and in the team, And I really, really was impressed with him yesterday, because sometimes you don't have a great game, but you still contribute. So that shows you're a good player as well, So I liked his performance in there. I will have to bring in Kai Havertz as well. I thought he was outstanding again yesterday. Really top performance. Actually, I haven't watched the full game yet, which I've got on TNT, which I understand there's a couple of stars on that. Like, I don't know if a couple of early additions to that thing, So Mr.
Keown
Dan
and Joe Cole need to watch out, mate. I tell you,
Dan Potts and Steve Potts making a special appearance in that. So if you've not seen that, make sure you do. So that's at the beginning of, I take it, the beginning of the program then?
I think it was around about 11 o'clock.
Forget about that. Let's talk about that, your TNT performance. What happened there and how did that come about?
It was incredible, I've got to say, and I can't big up anyone enough other than Tom Canton, to be fair. So Tom Canton gave us a shot. He texted me and he said, look, TNT looking at a father and son to talk to. Are you at the game? I said, yeah. And then TNT got in touch and said, look, we'd love to talk to you before the game. You're going to be with Martin Keown, Jules Breach and Joe Cole. I thought, blimey, no pressure then. I thought they meant it would be in a studio, but it weren't in the studio. It was walking down.
So what they said, you had to meet you at a certain place?
Well, they told us to meet at the supporters club. So we met at the supporters club. Then he rung me.
Martin Keown was outside the supporters club?
No. The guy that I thought they were going to come meet us, but the guy that was the producer, he come and said, look, they're going to do a whole walk down here. You need to stand here and they'll come and bring you in. So I stood outside with my dad, literally outside the Arsenal tube station, and they just walked past. Everyone was sort of trying to get in, surround and swamp them. And then they literally just brought us in. And Jules said, we've got a father and son here. Asked some questions, and that was what it was. So that was really impressive. I'll tell you what, like when they say you meet your heroes, you don't want to be let down by them. I thought Martin Keown was a true gent, but he was absolutely swamped, as we thought he would be. But Joe Cole was such a good bloke, Lee. I've got to say, like he really was a top guy. Really small as well. Did not expect him to be. I thought he was like 5'8", something like that. He was really small, and I chatted to him, and I just thought, you are a gent. Where are you from, Dan? Oh, I said Essex. Oh, yeah, I know you Essex quite well, and I know the area, and I grew up in that area. And he was just a proper gentleman, talking to me dad as well. Shook our hands. Thanks for coming on and talking to us. And you can't ask for better than that, can you? Especially when they're busy and being swamped by everyone. Took pictures with them, and Jules is very, very nice. That's all I can say. She is very, very nice indeed. But it was a really nice morning. Do you know what? It made the days be fair. Sun was shining. We had that in the morning. Then we went to the game, watched the game. I had my brother-in-law with me as well, and my dad and my mum. It was class. It was absolutely class. And then we watched football, and then come and had a good laugh. Bournemouth lads were brilliant as well. We come and spoke on my channel. brilliant on this channel as well for what we did after the game. And do you know what? It was, as home games go, it was one of the best of the season, mate. I can't lie. But really, really good. And thanks for that as well, because there was a load of support I had as well, which was amazing. So I was really, like, humbled by that. I really was.
What an unbelievable experience that was, like, and I'll tell you, like, what was very humbling yesterday was how many people were outside watching the videos and everything like that. So thanks for everybody who was outside and all that. It was an amazing day. I have to say, I don't know if it's because the sun comes out, it makes it a little bit better.
It does, mate. Everyone gets happy, don't they? Everyone's positive with the sun shining, I tell you. It was a great home day, it was.
We all slagged Tom off, you know what I mean? Like, but that's a great thing he's done there, like,
Oh, so, listen, he's a gentleman. He always has been a gentleman, to be fair to him. And my dad texted him after, he said, "Oh, cheers, Tom." He loves Tom. And I must say, that is a lovely thing to do. It really is. And yeah, I was actually like,
that's what it's all about, though, Dan, isn't it? Like, that's what Arsenal is all 100%, about.
100%, such a class, mate. But what was amazing was I was there standing with one of our heroes, because Keown is a legend of the club, wasn't he? So I'm standing there with him, with my dad, talking Arsenal outside the tube station I used to first go to Ivory at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, it was kind of sentimental value as well. It was really, really, it was class, man. It was class. And, thanks to everyone who's messaged as well, because you're always a bit nervy, aren't you, doing stuff like that? It's going on TV, the whole world to see. And the amount of support was, "Oh, Daniel, you and your dad were brilliant." And my dad, I've got to say this, big up to him, because he ain't like me and you. He hates the camera. He ain't in front of a camera. He ain't comfortable. And he said to me, he's nervous, but he said, "Look, I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you and the guys you do." And he was fine. He was absolutely fine. On the day, and he was like, "Wasn't all right? Wasn't all right?" I said, "Yeah, you were fine, Dad."
Well, I've got it down. I've got it downloaded, so I'm going to watch that at some either today or tomorrow. But yeah, well, listen, Steve's a top guy, and he, like, you know what I mean, and he was always gonna do well in it, like, So
yeah, 100%. 100%. It was brilliant. It was such a good day, man, and kind of topped off what was a real good away day and home day in the last week. Spurs and then that. It's been a good week of football league. Do you know what I mean?
It's been a fantastic week. Like this time last week, I mean, by this time now, I was still floating after the emotions of the Tottenham game and everything like that. But then, like, come the day you go to work or you just go about football or whatever, you just, you just get. What I tell you, what's the greatest thing, Dan, is that when I went football 6-a-side with my mates, and then went, like, we had a Vets game on the Tuesday. There's a few of them there are Spurs fans, you know what I mean? Well, they claim to be Spurs fans, but they're singing like Man City songs and all that. Like, you just walk in the dressing room or walk onto the court, and you don't say nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, they think you're going to give it all that. You just don't say nothing, and they go, "Oh, get out of the way, judges!" You know what I mean? Like, I absolutely love that part of it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
And then they start making out all these excuses and all that. Like, and I think, like, yeah, just bring it on. And at the end of the day, they go, "Well, we done this, we played well, we done that, we should have got this, and we should have go." What's the score? Yeah, we lost 3-2. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
It's unbelievable. The crying is still happening, isn't it?
Fantastic.
I can't believe it.
They had a great week.
You know what? It's funny because since then they've got battered. They've held 5 against Chelsea, 4 against Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? So now they can just shut up. You know what I mean? It's done. They can't defend and they're done. But it was funny. I walked past because I had to get there early for this thing with TNT. I went past. I said to my dad, "Let's go get something to eat, a little one at the cafe, and then we'll go down there." And as I went past the Armory, Michael Bridge was there. I was setting up at Sky Sports. "Oh, Michael, how are you, mate?" He's like, "Oh, bloody hell."
He's a good lad, Michael. I'll tell you what, he is a nice Spurs fan, Michael. Very classy.
I went past. "How did you get on last weekend, Michael? Did you enjoy that, mate?" He went, "Not really."
He's a gentleman, like, I mean, there are some nice Spurs fans out there. I actually started to get a little bit sorry for him today, like, I mean, I'll tell you what, I got a little bit sorry for him. I took some tablets that made me feel a bit better, and then when Richarlison comes on, you realise what the hate comes flowing back in and all that.
God,
you know what I mean? So
100%. Now, listen, I'm just glad now that we can talk. 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about the build-up, if I said to you now, look, we're going to be fine against Spurs and Bournemouth, you're going to take it. And that's the position we're in now. Two games to go, Lee. Man United and Everton. I've got to ask you, are you confident in those two games? And do you feel like there will be enough for us not to have to worry about slipping up against these two? Man United not playing well. Everton are safe. It's at home. Last game of the season. I think we're going to do it. I think we'll do it. 2 games.
You might think I'm silly here, right? But if on the Saturday Manchester City beat Fulham, I think we'll go and beat Manchester United comfortably, right? If they were to slip up, it's going to be a nightmare of a game.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be a nightmare of a game. You know what I mean? Like, because it'd be like it'd be ramped up a little bit more. Like, you know, at the end of it, at this moment in time, if you're a player, you can only get the result. You can only do what you can do. It don't really matter if we win 5-0. Don't matter. We can win 10-0. It don't really matter. But if they were to slip up, and I'll tell you what, please Fulham get a win. You know what I mean? Like last minute winner, because then goal difference doesn't really matter. And then just that, you know, oh my God, that Man United game's going to be unreal, like, you know. But I feel that we'll have enough to get over the line. You know, I really do. I think we'll win our next 2 games. It's not in our hands. I have to say, I don't know. You know, Manchester United got a few injury problems at this moment. Of course, they don't play until tomorrow. But I watched them against Burnley. Burnley got stuffed the other day, like, you know. But Burnley should have beaten Manchester United on that day. If they had their chances and took their chances, they would have won that day. They were the better team. Can I just repeat that? Burnley were the better team, you know. So if we can't go up there and put a little bit of a bogey team to another little thing that we need to do, if we don't go there and win, I'll be obviously disappointed because we ain't going to win the league. But I think that we'll have enough to win that game. And I think
the other say as well, Harry Maguire being injured, people might laugh at that. He has been Manchester United's best defender.
Well, yeah. Is he injured as well now then?
He is. He's out.
So we'll have to see. Like,
no excuses, mate. No excuses. Yeah. Listen, Chaz has asked, where can I see the video, the TNT? If you go to my Twitter page, my Twitter handle is here at DanArsenal87. You can see it. Loads of people have retweeted it. So just go onto my profile and you can watch it. Love for the support. Do appreciate it. Yeah, Harry Maguire out for 3 weeks, Lee. So he's going to miss the game as well. Oh. So I'm sorry, Man United. We've got no excuses. Well, right, you know? We've got no excuses. Yeah, cup final as well. So we're in a position where we have got no excuses going into this Man United game. They're a terrible outfit. They've got a manager and players that are untelepathic. They've got no connection with each other. And for me, Manchester United have got one game to worry about, and that's the FA Cup final. Yeah. They can't really mess up Europe massively. They can if they get pummeled 5-0 by us and by someone else, but I don't know if they will. I think they'll get Conference League or 6th, but I don't think Man United are too fussed by that. I think they just want to start again, Man United. So if there's any team that would want to go and see Arsenal win the league, it's Man United. Because they don't want Liverpool to win it. I know they can't now. And they don't want Man City to do the 4-peat. So for me, if there's any team that we talk about Tottenham rolling over, right? If there's any team that should roll over, it should be Man United against us. Not that they will, but I'd love to.
I don't expect them to. But if that's their central defensive partnership, Casemiro and Johnny Evans, then Arsenal should be all right. And I think we will be, even if they, you know, we're a better team than them. So I do fancy us to do well in that game. So I've got no problems with that. Like, you know, and if we don't win those games, then so be it. Like, you know, I don't see, as we said, we've spoken about it. I don't see Manchester City slipping up, but like, I do expect us to get the result at Old Trafford. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know about you, but I'm at that stage now where I enjoyed last week and then come up to Saturday. I was all right Friday night. I don't know if you was. I felt all right Friday. Went out Friday night. I felt all right. Didn't really worry about the game. Got up in the morning, Then the nerves kick in, right? And it weren't until the game was won at 2-0 then I have enjoyed. And then I'm going to enjoy everything now up until Sunday morning. I'll wake up Sunday morning worried about everything and all that. Like, you know, maybe even won't sleep if Fulham have done the business. You know, I don't know what I do, but. You know, and then I'll calm down again to the following week, you know. But do you imagine if it does happen, like, you know, and then you go into that Everton game, the excitement and the nerves and everything for that game. My God, you know. So listen, it could be the best 2 weeks of our lives, Dan, coming up here, and I mean that sincerely because we've experienced titles, but I do think that if we was to win this one there against this team, and against the odds a little bit, if I'll be really honest, would be a remarkable achievement. Remarkable.
It'd be special, mate. And I don't know. I think Man City are going to win the league. I'll put that out right now. And I've thought they would all season, and I thought they would 8-9 games ago, right? But for this season, for how good it's been, for it to end this way, a bit meh. We know the three that are going down. We know Man City have won it. We know who's got top 4. We know who's going to get Europe. It don't really matter who comes 6th, 7th. It might be a bit of a meh ending. So could there be a twist right at the end, Lee? That's what I'm asking.
Well, listen, in football, you never know. And that's it. You know, you never know. And that's the hope that kills you and keeps you going, you know, at the end of it. This is the best league in the world, you know, for a team not to lose or drop, you know, lose, let's say it, not lose till since December. Come on. Best league in the world. You know, let's see something happens. And as poor as Spurs have been today, they've still got a chance of Champions League because I think Liverpool will beat Villa next Monday. I really do. I think Tottenham will scrape a win against Burnley. You know, but I don't know because Burnley need to win if they're not going to get relegated. But I think that Burnley will get relegated at Tottenham next week. And it then goes on to that game against City when they actually they could actually get it to the last game of the season. And their last game of the season, Tottenham, Sheffield United. So they would be in the box seat if they could win their next 2 games and Liverpool beat Villa. So it's still all to play for in that light. But I just can't see Tottenham, whether they're going for Champions League football or not, competing with Man City the way they're playing at the moment. They're awful. They're awful. So, you know, we're relying on Fulham. I just want to say one thing. If you don't turn up at Fulham, if City don't turn up, they get beat because we didn't turn up and got beat. So it could be the ground where we actually lost the title in 2 ways. When we went there back in, what was it, December the 20th? That was
New Year's Eve, wasn't it? New Year's Eve, mate.
New Year's Eve, wasn't it? Yeah. So there'd be the ground where we lost the title. And it's a lovely place. Let's hope it's the game, you know, the game where I would like to have fond memories of it because if we don't, if City do win there, I will always go to Fulham and think this is where the title was lost. You know what I mean? So
they've got Leno in goal, they've got Alex Iwobi, and they've got Willian. Come on, boys, please, come on, boys. 3 ex-Arsenal players, Gooners for life. Let's make sure they can do something. Don't even care if you don't win. Just take a draw. Be amazing. That's all I ask. Listen, well, before we come to the last part of the show, Lee, I want to talk to you about some of the links that's been happening.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating. We're going to talk a little bit about Bruno G in a minute and Szczesny's return, but I want to ask this question. Kai Havertz has been phenomenal in the last number 9 since 2024. We've got Jesus still there. Eddie Nketiah probably not got a future at Arsenal, might be left to leave. Do we need a number 9 still?
Yes, to replace Eddie.
I agree.
Someone coming to Eddie, whether it's a player that can play in both positions. Like say, like if they were to sign Isaac or somebody like that, you know that he can play left, he can play right, he can play down the middle. I think that it's someone like that. I know, like Vlahovic has been again mentioned. I see that the other day. Like he's more of an out and centre forward. I wouldn't like to see that because I quite think that the out and out centre forward when we play that role is Havertz now. Like, you know, I think he's been outstanding in the last few games. And listen, if Havertz wasn't playing for Arsenal and like you've been linked with him, he'd say he was doing what he's doing for Chelsea now. He'd be getting caught. He's £100 million player, 80, you know. So I don't know. It's really, really interesting what they're going to do in that thing. I think Kai Havertz may have changed Arteta's way of thinking. Because if you look at it now, like, you know, a year ago, if Jesus was injured or not or out of form, it was Eddie coming in there. It's not him now. And I tell you what, if it's not Havertz, I think it'd be Trossard, if I'll be really honest. So I do think that they're bringing somebody there. But for me, Kai Havertz is. I thought he was outstanding yesterday. Like, you know, why he's playing like this? Why would you want to replace him? That's my thing at this moment in time. Can he do it again? But I'll tell you what with Kai Havertz, and if somebody said this to me yesterday, which is a great point, he's actually got better and played really, really well when the pressure's been on Dan.
Yeah.
You know,
big game player type thing.
Big game player sort of thing, like, you know. And as you quite rightly said, what was the game he didn't play? I know up front was
Villa,
and look what happened. So. Yeah. Is he one of these players that when the pressure's on and, you know, he gets better and better the bigger the game? So I don't know. So you look at the first game he ever played for Arsenal. Well, I remember him with any significance was the Community Shield at Wembley, another good performance there. So I'm not going to say we don't need a striker, and if we go and buy one, I'm not going to say we don't need that, because I think that, you know, you look back at even when we had Henry, we had Wiltord, we had Carnu, we had like lots of strikers, you know, top players. So I do think that we need something there. And at the end of it, like, you know, we've got a couple of players in that squad at this moment that are just making up the, you know, like if there's 10, 15 minutes from the end, you know, no disrespect, we're bringing on Eddie, you know, a lot of people leave the ground. You know what I mean? Like, so if you've got somebody that come in, I don't know of the ilk of what we've got, I think it's certainly something to look at, like, you know. So, but I don't think it's the main priority. I think the one we're going to talk about next is probably the main one.
Well, listen, in terms of the striker, I think we need a number 9. Tony's linked, Osimhen's linked, Victor Gyökeres is linked, Isak is linked, Joshua Zirkzee is linked. All I want it to be is someone who's going to come in and have a huge impact. And I think the less risk of that is going to be somebody like Isak, Tony, who are Premier League proven, right? I don't know who we're going to end up getting. I've got no ITK and understanding of what's going to happen. But Victor Gyökeres really interests me. I think Alexander Isak is going to stay at Newcastle for one more year at least. I think Joshua Zirkzee from Genoa, I don't know much about him. He would be more of a risk. Ivan Toney, I've not heard many links since the January link. And I don't think that's going to happen for some reason. Something tells me we're not after him. Victor Osimhen, I think there's links there, but I don't know how much of a risk that would be, because obviously at Napoli it's a completely different league. But the Victor Gyökeres one really, really excites me, if I'm honest, because it's £85 million apparently the release fee. He's got 31 goals and assists in 37 games for Sporting Lisbon. That is incredible. 27 goals and 10 assists, right, in 31 games. And he's doing it in a good league as well. It's not like it's the, you know, people call it the Farmers League, but it's not like it's the League One or League Two, is it, in England? He's got English experience and it's toughened him up because he was in the Championship for Coventry. And all the Coventry fans said, what a player. I can't believe we're going to miss him. It's absolutely devastating. And he's really got improved it. Now, he looks similar to like a Vlahovic in terms of that number 9. He's quite like a Havertz, you know. He's got like the link-up play. He's strong, he can hold it up. He's got a good left foot and right foot, to be fair to him. He scores all sorts of goals. That's why that interests me, really. Now, Isak will be the one. I love him. I think he's an elite baller. But I just don't think Newcastle are going to sell him as well as potentially Bruno G if he was to go as well. So we need a striker. What I don't want, Lee, is for us to go, Havertz has proved himself. Jesus is back up. We'll keep Eddie as the third choice. And we'll go and spend it elsewhere. I don't want that. I really don't want that. I've got to have a player like Gyökeres coming in, being that number 1 striker. And it doesn't matter if he don't come in straight away, by the way. Say we sign him. Doesn't matter if we start Havertz at the start of the season and he geezer moulds himself in. Maybe that's the best way to do it. But I need to see that happening, Lee, for me. And that's why I'm big up for a striker. 100%.
Yeah, listen, I agree with that. Like, you know, and then you're in a position like if you've got a Champions League game on a Wednesday and you've got a game on the Saturday, you play one and the drop off's no different. That's what 100%. We've got to get to. That's what we've got to get to, like, you know, and I think that's in a couple of positions. So I do think it's something that we can do in there. But I don't. But what is a good thing is now I think that clubs won't take the Michael out of us because they know we're not desperate. We're not desperate for that. Do you know what I mean? So it'll be we'll take our time over it and hopefully make the right decision. You know, one thing I will say about it, you know, and I don't understand how our teams, and even Liverpool today, how comes teams are so clinical away from home, but at home are very, very wasteful. I don't understand that, like, you know what I mean? Like, so we need someone to go in there. Someone mentioned Rashford, you know what I mean? Like, that is not for me, but I that sort of player though I wouldn't be against that because he can play wide and he can play up front. I know you're going for the out and out striker. I'm looking maybe at someone that can play.
I don't mind, like Isak can play right, left, and forward, but Rashford for me, I don't want any more project bloody players. Look what Arteta might be able to do with him. I want someone ready now. None of this. Give him 3 years. He's 27, Rashford, but the worst mentality I've seen in a footballer in a long time. 375 a week, and he don't do anything. Not for me. I'll be a real poor signing for me, and it costs a hell of a lot of money. That'd be a poor signing in my opinion. So for me, you go for, if you're going to spend big, you go Isak. If you want to try and get one around 80, then you go for Gyökeres. And if you want to try and go a little bit cheaper and you think you can get him, then Ivan Toney. They'd be the three, I think, for me. But let's talk about this link with Bruno Guimaraes, mate, because obviously Newcastle was saying he's got a release clause of £100 million till the 1st of June. The three clubs linked with him this summer are PSG, Manchester City and Arsenal. Now, when you see those three names, it's going to be difficult for us to be 100% favourites. PSG, going to get guaranteed trophies, potentially always going to be up for Champions League. Manchester City, definitely guaranteed trophies. And if I'm honest, would probably go in there with Rodri and do a good job. But the reason I think Arsenal might have a chance here, one, Edu wanted him when he was at Lyon. Two, the Brazilian link, because he's got Gabriel Jesus, he's got Martinelli, he's got Gabriel Magalhaes. And I also think he's guaranteed games, Lee, as well. Now, I'm not saying he's not guaranteed games at Man City, but the way that they play with Rodri, Foden and KDB, or Rodri, Foden and whoever it might be if KDB is to be sold, but I still don't think he will be sold. I think he'll stay another year. Then I think he's more likely to get in a midfield of Rice, Bruno and Ødegaard. And I think he could be a really good player, a 6 and an 8. I think there was a chat earlier someone had put saying, gee, here we go, Nifan. Nifin says, hey, Dan and Lee, should we sign Bruno G for 80 to 100? For me, average player and has discipline is awful. I'd much rather someone like Douglas Luiz or Martin Zubimendi. I actually disagree with Nifin because I really like this player. I understand what he's saying about the fact that he's got bad discipline, but I quite like the fact that he's a bit of a horrible player in there. This guy's stats are unreal. If you look at the geezer's stats across the last season in top 5 European leagues, he has won the most fouls and he's got the most interceptions. And there's another stat as well, which is for the life of me, I can't remember. As a midfielder, is everything we need. Can play 6 and 8. Will play with Rice or without Rice. £100 million or 80 to £100 million. I'm paying it, Lee. 26 years old. He's ready now. Premier League proven. Bit of nastiness. What are you telling me?
Listen, I don't like him, and the reason I don't like him because he does good things, and I think he's going to be one of those players. And we've all had them that if he plays for your team, you love him. If he plays against you, hate him. Like, you know, listen, I don't think it'd be 80 million. I think it'd be like it could be that we'll have Bruno, you have Partey. It could be like, you know what I mean, or you have a Smith Rowe or somebody like that. There could be a part exchange with a couple of players along the lines. I think that could certainly well happen. But we need someone. We need someone that's going to replace Thomas Partey long term. Look how good Arsenal are with Thomas Partey in the team. So much better, but he's not reliable. Imagine if you had someone that can do what Thomas Partey does every game and you know that he's going to stay fit. If you have a look at Bruno, he plays in the Premier League. He plays in, week out. He's Premier League battled, hardened. So I think that it would be a really good thing. For me, I wouldn't sell Thomas Partey if I could help it. Then I would keep Thomas Partey. My midfield would be like, I don't know who it'd be. Say it is Bruno. I'm happy to do that. Bruno, Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, Ødegaard, those sort of players in there. Good midfield, good solid midfield, like, you know. And we'll have to wait and see. So I would like to see somebody. We've got to get somebody. I think that's our main priority now, like, you know.
Yeah.
Because I mean this sincerely. watching Thomas Partey in the last 3 games, all I've kept saying is if only he was fit for the whole of the season. If only Arsenal would have won this. If he was fit for Bayern Munich, we would have won that game. Do you know why we would have won that game? Because Declan Rice would have played better in the position that he was playing. Odegaard would have played better. And I can tell you what is Saliba has started to play better because not because he's in front of it, but there's an outlet for him to pass to and things like that. All of a sudden, the players around him play better, because he allows that to happen. And I can tell you this now, Thomas Partey's playing, you know, people laugh at me when I say this. I think he's at 80% maximum at this moment in time, fitness-wise. You know what I mean? He gets better and better. So it's something that we've got to address. And guys, there ain't no one better than Thomas Partey out there, in my opinion. The next best thing to him is probably Bruno. People say Douglas Luiz, which I do like him. I think he's very, very good. I don't think he's better than Bruno.
No, he's not. No.
And the reason we don't like Bruno is because he's got those dark arts. But unfortunately, he'd probably get away with a little bit more at Newcastle than what he will at Arsenal. So he's going to have to watch his discipline if he did come to Arsenal, because they'd be right on him with all the little antics that he does. Listen, I think that a lot of players go, they don't like him, but they're rather having him in the team. And I bet when he's in the team, he's probably good for team spirit and everything like that as well. So listen, I'm not against it. And I know that Russ said this yesterday, when I think someone on the train said, "Oh yeah, but 80 to 90 million is a lot of money." And he went, "It's not my money."
Well, one, it ain't my money, and two, if it wins you something, who the hell cares, man?
Yeah, listen, when people say
£100 million a lot of money for Rice, I'd pay it again.
Yeah, you worried about the 100 million they spent on Rice? I'm not, and I'll tell you this now, that your season ticket's gone up next year. You know what I mean? We have to scrimp and save to go with the Arsenal, so I expect top players. I'm paying top money for my season ticket. You are, everybody is, I expect top players here, I don't want this issue. Oh, that's not that. That one of the reasons we moved to the Emirates was to buy players like Declan Rice. And once you've bought one, it's not worth buying one and then you don't have no one for another 10 years. The next year, someone else has got to come. The next year, another one's got to come, and that's when, eventually we win the league, because we've come close the last 2 years, but there is going to be a stage, Dan, when we've got to say, no, we've got to go over the line. And if spending an extra couple of million is to do that, then we need to do it. And that's, I don't care who it is. If Mikel and Edu is the one that they say that's the one they want, that's the one we go and get. If it's someone else, it's someone else. But I don't care what we do. We spent £105 million on Declan Rice. Not one person that walked out of that ground on Saturday has turned around to me and said he's overpriced.
No. Unbelievable. And it's facts. No one's ever mentioned his price tag because of how good he's been. Before we come to this Szczesny to close, Julian putting this in earlier, so I wanted to flick it up. If Grealish became available, would you fancy signing him?
2 years ago, definitely. That's a tough one. I like Grealish, so he could play in a couple of positions. I would do. Because he can play wide and he can also play in the Odegaard role to cover him as well. So, yes, I would.
It's going to be about 70-odd million, 80 million, isn't he? He's 27, is he?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Listen, I would probably look at other options first, but if he did come available for a good price, I wouldn't say no to him because he is a baller, to be fair.
2 years ago, we wanted him.
Oh, yeah. No-brainer, wasn't it? Absolute no-brainer for me 2 years ago. I think now I do like him, but I don't think he's been worth 100 million like Rice.
No, well over the price.
Well overpriced.
Well overpriced. You don't say that about our deck, no, do you? But you do about
absolutely not. I mean, listen, Grealish has won a treble, though. I will throw that back at us.
Yeah.
But he did contribute to it. But like Declan Rice for me, absolutely worth every penny. Let's talk about it, mate. To close the show, Szczesny. I've got to say, bruv, this one come a little bit out of nowhere today. Few rumours, don't know how true it's going to be. But he's 34 years old. He's got about 15 months left on his Juventus contract. Was a big kind of fans' favourite at Arsenal. Then he got a bit cocky and he ended up leaving. I actually quite liked him when he was at Arsenal. I can't lie. I didn't think he was going to take us to the top, but he was better than what we had at the time. And I probably would take him back if Ramsdale was to go. So let's close the show by talking about this goalkeeping situation. Now, there's two options we got here, right? We can not take up the David Raya thing and say he's not for us. We'll keep Ramsdale and we'll get somebody better in. We can keep David Raya, sell Ramsdale and get another 2 in. We can keep Raya, sell Ramsdale, get another number 1 in, and Raya become our number 2. Where are you at with those options, Lee?
Well, we need someone, because whatever happens, something's got to give, and I'm under the from powers that be that that Raya will come to Arsenal. That's all agreed. So 27 million. So and you can't have this situation going on again. So I think Ramsdale will be sold. So we need another backup goalkeeper. Perfect. Someone like SZCZSENY coming towards the end of his career, knows he's going to be in the number 2 and will be a perfect backup. And when he's going to play and when he's not going to play, and the pressure's off. Do I think we need an upgrade on Raya? That's another story. That's another podcast that we can do at a later day. As far as I'm concerned, if Arteta wants to go with, if Arteta says, right, I'm paying that money, and that means he's going to be his number 1, that then triggers Ramsdale to leave, and we get in a number 2, and that would be, for me, the perfect one to go for. But if you want to go for a number 1, that's another story. But I don't know where that would put Raya then. But. Someone said De Gea is available for a free, which would be another good backup goalkeeper to have. I don't like this situation that we've got ourselves into. I don't think it was beneficial to Raya. I don't think it was beneficial to Ramsdale. It weren't beneficial to the fans. It weren't beneficial to anybody. And I don't care what club Aaron goes to. I'll be very, very happy that he goes to. Any decent club wouldn't bother me, apart from Spurs. Don't go Spurs, Aaron. That's the only. I think they could be looking for a goalkeeper, So we go.
Well, listen, we've got a couple of options. We got apparently Oblak could be available in the summer. I would love him. Michael Mannion, number 1. I would absolutely love him. It would be phenomenal to get in a number 1 goalkeeper, in my opinion. A lot of people disagree, say no, it's Raya, Dan. We're just going to go and get another backup goalkeeper. That's what I think will happen, if I'm honest. And SZCZSENY could be that guy. Big up to Graham. Going to join us for a couple of minutes. How are you, mate?
Yeah, sorry I'm a bit late joining.
A bit late. We're just about to go off air, but it's very nice to see you, Graham.
Well, the thing is, I got a request from, there's a Dream Team, Sun Dream Team professor. He does a show on Dream Team. And, of course, back in 99, I nearly won it. I don't know if you know the story, Lee.
Yeah, I do know the story. Yes, well, go on.
I led the competition all year until Robbie Fowler sniffed the grass in April and got banned for the last 6 games and cost me 75 grand.
Yeah.
So they wanted me on there to tell that story. So I still got 25 grand because I finished 3rd in the Sun Dream Team that year. It's an unbelievable story, really, because in those days you couldn't really make transit. The Dream Team at the moment, fantasy football, you could make 2 tweaks every week. But in those days, you just made 2 tweaks at Christmas, and that was it for the season. So the moment you lost the player, that was it. Your season was over. So I lost him.
I remember those days.
And I was telling the guys tonight, because now it's all done online, and you go on your phone and tap it all in. In those days, you had to ring it in manually on a phone. You had to it used to go. You used to press 088, and it said, "You've pressed 088 for Andy Cole. Press 1 to accept or 2 to redial." And that's how it was in those days. It was so old-fashioned, but I was a celebrity, really, because they used to ring me up the Sun every week. I used to do a piece in the paper every week when I was leading it for 4 months, and then they took the piss out of me when I fell away at the end. And the funny thing is, you're not going to believe this. My brother emigrated to Australia, and I went out there to see his new place. He said, "Graham," he said, "I've got tickets for a football match tonight. Robbie Fowler's playing in the Australian League." Fuck Robbie Fowler. I've always wanted to meet the guy to say, "You owe me 75 grand, Robbie."
Yeah, I reckon if you ever do meet him, you've got to tell him the story,
I would do, yeah, if I met him, yeah. Yeah.
100%.
So
What a
but
story.
yeah, but
What a story that is. That's
it
incredible.
is
I've not actually heard
unbelievable.
that
Yeah.
story as well. No, Lee has. I've not actually heard that one. But
Yeah, I
listen,
remember going through.
might as well ask you a question. We are going to leave in a
Yeah.
minute, Graham, because you haven't gone for an hour, but might as well get your thoughts. We
Yeah.
were just talking about some links because it is that time of the year again where links to the club
Yeah.
happen. What's your thoughts on the summer transfer window at Arsenal? What would be exciting for you? You don't have to give me names, just give a few positions or whatever that you think Arsenal might be lacking in.
I'm going to say pretty much probably what you've been saying. I'd like to see a new striker come in. I'd like to see a new centre mid come in, and probably a new left back. If I'm honest, those three positions are the positions I'd look at. And I know today we've been linked with a reserve goalkeeper. SZCZSENY's been linked in the media today as what we might be going to when Ramsdale moves on. He's 34 now, isn't he? So I haven't really been watching him in Italian leagues. I don't know what he's like. I think I would love us to get Isaac. I really would, but I just don't think that's gonna. Just don't think that's gonna happen.
No, me neither.
I think that if Newcastle got to sell anyone, they're likely to sell Bruno. If anybody out of the two, I think the fans will lynch Newcastle if they sell the board if they sell Isaac. So, but I could. Guimaraes would be a good.
Bruno, Graham?
I would take Bruno. I think because I've got this funny feeling that I don't think Partey's going to be there next season. That's just my view. I think they'll move him on. I think one of him and Jorginho will go, and I think he likes Jorginho. Partey's done really well since he's come back in the team, but I just can see them moving him on because of his injury record. I think that's why. So, and I think he played. The thing about Bruno, he's always fit, isn't he? He plays every game. I think Arteta wants players who are going to be fit for every game, who are durable, and I think that's what he wants. And so, if we got him, he'd be a really good fit for us. A midfielder, Bruno, Odegaard, and Rice would be sensational for me. But I would love to see Isaac up front. I do think also another reason why I want Isaac is that combination with Odegaard. They could replicate what they had at Sociedad. And that's another important thing. I just think he wants to. We just need to keep adding quality, don't we? That's what we need to do. And if we can keep doing that, I think we're going to get closer. I think we're going to narrowly miss out this year. I pray I'm wrong, but narrowly miss out. But I think City, sooner or later, they're going to they're just going to slip. You know, it's going to. I just think we're going to get there. I wouldn't be surprised if we won it next year. If he could add the right quality, you know. And I thought the team was sensational yesterday. I watched both your fan games, both brilliant. And I thought the way we played yesterday, great football. I love this new Martin Odegaard role where he's coming deeper now to build the play, and he's still up there, you know, attacking. I could see his future actually on the left-hand side of our midfield three. And I don't know where that would leave Declan. I really don't know, but he was sensational when he went into those pockets yesterday in that half-8 space, and he played the ball through the Havertz for the penalty. I just think he's so good, Martin Odegaard at the moment. He's just kicked on. It's a joy to watch. I just love watching him play. And his work rate,
I'm with you on that.
you know, the work rate of the guy is just incredible. You know, and he's got an engine and a half, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So I do think we lack a real finisher, and that's even though we've scored loads of goals. We've got 4 players with 15 plus goals in the Premier League this season. And I think we're the only Premier League team who's got 4 players with 15 plus goals in the Premier League. So, and I think I love Trossard, what he's doing to the team. And he's finishing yesterday, took that chance brilliantly. I just love everything about this team at the moment. I just love watching us play. And I think, you know, I just regret that Aston Villa performance because Emery, Arteta got it wrong that day. He moved Havertz back into the left-sided 8 role. And I know he wanted to bring Jesus in. We almost like picked the team to accommodate Jesus in the team. And I love Jesus. You know, I think he's a great player, and I'm not sure whether we're going to keep him or not. I hope we do. But I just don't think he's quite been the same since a knee injury. I think Havertz suits the team, the way he plays in that position. Yeah. And unless we're going to get a real upgrade on him, I think he should stay there. But, you know, I'd love to see Isaac come. I really do rate him. I rated him in Spain. And I think he'd be a great addition. But yeah, so for me, in answer to your question, probably a midfielder, a striker, and probably a left-sided defender.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I put this up the other day on the show and on my channel as well. And this to me sums up where we need to sign players. And it's at the top, I'm looking. It's very, very small. So I'll read it out for you guys. We've got Saliba and Gabriel that have played the most minutes this season. That means we need a centre back, in my opinion. And I think we need a right sided centre back. Because if Saliba's to get a knock, we've got nobody other than shifting one of them into right side of midfield, into right side of centre back, sorry. And I'm not sure that Tomiyasu or Ben White is going to be the answer if Saliba gets back. That's why I would look to go for somebody like Diamande from Sporting Lisbon, somebody who can go in there. Then you've got Declan Rice and Ødegaard that have then played every single minute pretty much of the Champions League games and Premier League games. That means we need a midfielder in there. And it might mean that we need a creative midfielder. And then, of course, you've got Saka, where people are saying we need another winger. Now, for me, I'd like to see somebody like a Xavi Simons come in who can play right winger and number 10. So we've got a couple of positions there for if Ødegaard and Saka need a rest or a rotation. And then you've got the Kai Havertz of this world who potentially we need another centre forward in for. So that, for me, sums it up. Like, he does not trust his bench players to replace the likes of Saliba, Gabriel, Rice, Ødegaard, Saka, White, Raya, of course, and Havertz. And that, to me, is the biggest problem. And they're the areas of the team we need to strengthen, boys.
Yeah, I think he's got 8 players he trusts. There's the only 3 places that are up for debate, I think, every week is the left back position, the holding midfielder, and the left-sided attacker. The other 7 outfield players and Raya, he's going to go. He's going to do or die by those players this season. So White, Gabriel, Saliba will play every game. Ødegaard and Rice will play every game, and Saka and Havertz will play every game. So they're the players he's going to die by. And he does overplay them, no doubt about it. He does overplay them. So the thing about Tomiyasu is you question him there, but he did play centre half in the Italian league, didn't he, for the club that we bought him from? He has played centre half. I think White is so nailed now on the right side. I think that's where his position is now. I think you're right, Dan. Probably we could do with another centre half. But I think Arteta tends to buy players who can play versatile players. That's right. Yeah, players who can play across the front line, or defenders who can play left back. Like Timber could play a centre half. I think he could play. He's obviously a left-sided left back player, but I'm pretty sure he's a big, tall, physical player. He could maybe move inside if we needed him to, or he could even coach him to play that role. So I think, but he'll want players who, I think, as I said, who can play 1 or 2 positions, who are versatile. It's difficult, isn't it? Because he's got to sell players, and he's got to generate the revenue. And I don't know how much money they're going to have to spend. I really don't know whether you know anything that I don't. So, and of course, when you buy someone, just imagine if we got an Isak. How much do you think an Isak would cost? Talking about that 120. Yeah, we wouldn't pay that, would we? We wouldn't pay. So, so let's just see where it goes. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. Their summer plans they must be sort of like already well advanced of what they want to do, and they must be sort of like, I should imagine, sounding out possible options and everything. That Simons player you mentioned, he's been linked with Chelsea, isn't he?
Yeah, very good player. I've got a lot of time for him. I think he's an excellent player. I really do.
Who's he play for at the moment?
Well, he's PSG's player, but he's on loan at Leipzig. But he's PSG's player.
Because when I went away to Munich in February, I took my son away to see the Bayern Munich Leipzig game. He played in that game. He looked really good in that game for Leipzig. He is a good player. Yeah,
he is. Lee, expect a busy summer, judges?
Yeah, I expect us to do a lot of business, a lot of players coming. I'm with Graham there. 3 top players will come in, will be for that, and then maybe a couple of squad players, like a goalkeeper coming in or something like that, and there. And obviously, I think Eddie will go. Tierney obviously will go. Ramsdale, Eddie will go. Nelson, I think so. Well, I think we're about 4 or 5 players go out, 3 coming in, couple coming up from the academy.
Fair play, man. Fair play. Sorry, I'm just half texting it. There we go. So listen, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Graham, thanks for jumping on at the end there, mate.
Thanks for jumping on, Graham. Appreciate it.
No problem, mate. All the best, Lee. See you soon, guys. All the best. Good night.
Do appreciate it, man. Listen, guys, do us a favor, smash the like button, hit subscribe, and we will see you next time. We're out of here, people. Take care. Up the Arsenal, as always.